And welcome. Friday night, I've got another guest or victim, whatever we want to call it. And I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hey guys, my name is Dara, but I run the Celticbeers page on Instagram. I review and recommend beers. If you're kind of wondering of how many, I think over 1,000 or 1,100 by now is a good idea of a number. I also the Brewdog Beer School specialist, so I teach when we're normally open, not during COVID times. When we're normally open, I normally teach employees and customers about beer, how beer is made, and stuff like that. And also, a couple of weeks ago, I just completed my Cicerone exam, which is equivalent to a wine sommelier, but for beer terms. And I can talk about that later on, but that was a tough exam.
Yeah, I've heard about them ones. I've often wondered about starting some of it or going into some of them courses, but I don't know. They seemed before COVID, seemed very Dublin centric. I think some of them. The ones I learned about anyhow.
Yeah. So I'll just start off. So I work for Brewdog, but it's been hard because opened in mid-December of 2019.
Yeah.
And then we worked all the way to March, and we're getting ready for Paddy's Day, and we're getting really excited because I had to do a lot of beer schools on that day, you know, for customers, a big splash. But we actually closed 2 days beforehand. And so when you work for Brewdog, you want everyone to do and have knowledge about beer. So you can go to any table. If they ask for, do you have any this style, that name, or whatever, something light, heavy, ABV high, low, bitterness, everything like that. We want our customers or our staff to have some knowledge. So I was the first person before managers in our Brewdog bar to do the certified beer server exam, which is like level 1 of the Cicerone program.
Yeah.
And it is 60 questions in 30 minutes. So it is a bit tough, and there's a passing rate of 45 questions that you had to get past. And I think I got 54 right in 20 minutes. So
can I ask what sort of questions would I ask? So that's what I'm afraid if you do some of them.
Yeah. Questions about this the Cicerone stuff and
just a typical an easy question. What you consider?
Okay, so one of the biggest ones would be like for starting off for the CBS, so level 1 would be like, what's the difference between an ale and a lager, right? And so the difference would be is the fermentation temperatures and how long they ferment. So you always drink, like, lagers are lovely and cold and crisp. So they ferment between 7 to 10 degrees, and they ferment about 3 times longer than ales because you want all that clean, crisp, no off flavors whatsoever. Ales would be anywhere from, let's say, 13 up to almost 20, 22 degrees. And so ales 7 to 10 days, lagers 3 times up to 3 weeks and stuff like that. That's the type of questions. And then as you go on to the second level, they'll be like,
would they be multiple choice, or you say that?
So level 1 was multiple choice, so they give you all the answers. But level 2 is like you either knew it or you don't. So there was no multiple choice. Though for level 2 is they will show you about let's say 10 different beer glasses, and then you would have to pick a certain style to go with each beer glass and stuff like that. So it's more in depth and stuff like that. So yeah.
So when did you get into craft beer, if we use that term?
Yeah.
We'll say good beer. I use it.
Yeah, I can understand good beer. I got into terms of good beer. Well, I think as any Irishman or Irish woman in Ireland who grows up known in a nation who loves alcohol in that sense of either whiskey or wine or beer, you kind of grow up knowing just you want to kind of get either drunk or waste or feel that kind of sense of as a teenager and stuff like that. So you do that, and then, but I grew up very especially because I grew up in a special time of when craft beer was getting a lot of momentum and gain. And fun enough, I used to work for Guinness when I was in a couple of years ago. But my first experience of craft beer was back in when I kind of started this page in 2015. So about almost 6 years ago, it'll be June 2021 will be 6 years of this page.
Okay.
And my first proper experience was probably either drinking a Punk IPA by Brewdog because they were so big, I won't lie, I probably drank a craft beer not knowing is a craft beer at that time, because I didn't probably know what craft beer was. I just knew it was a small brewed beer in that sense.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I was 16, or no, it's not 16. I was 18 or 19 at that time. So, but as I got into craft beer, I started to know what is beer, what are the different styles, and I progressed again. I worked in Guinness in the storehouse, and I worked there as just a storehouse assistant. So what everyone else did, and I worked up in the gravity bar, and then there was on the second floor. There's a big section called Taste More. We had Irish dancers, but you could bring in a ticket, or you got your ticket, and you could exchange that for like a little beer tray of 3 or 4 beers.
Yeah.
So I worked there quite a lot because I knew the difference in the flavors, and you can talk to customers and stuff like that. But working in Guinness on St. Patrick's Day is mental. It is.
I think most days is bad for it.
It is, yeah. Most days I remember when working there, because I was in college as well, so I was trying to balance that life of work and college. We on average we would probably get about 5,000 to 7,000 customers a day. And though on St. Patrick's Day when I worked there, 2018 I'd say, we did 10,000 customers in one day. And on average, a ticket can go for about 30 quid.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the amount of money. And one ticket only gets you 1 beer. That's it. So everything you want to get more drinks, you would have to spend and buy. So.
Oh yeah, I thought there was a sample tray. I've heard a few people. I've never went to. I mean to go on the tour, but I've never been up there. That you got a sample. One person got a sample tray, or they did an extended tour, I think, and they got more.
Yeah, well, if you pay for, so I can't remember like the base prices, but if you pay for obviously a bit more, you can get like an hour-long or 45-minute beer school special by one of the beer people. So what they do is they'll bring you in the back of a lovely room, and you'll get to try Guinness Original, I think, West Indies Porter, the Foreign Extra Stout, and I think Hop House at that time as well.
Yeah. Good employers?
Sorry?
Good employers?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the story of, so I wasn't directly employed by Guinness. I was indirectly by IRC, which is a company that, so if anyone from Diageo or Guinness called in sick, normally they would say, you're not working today, but if someone calls in, we'll need you in that sense, and you either get a call or a text saying that kind of stuff. Yeah, no, like it was, in fairness, like if I was working from, let's say, a normal shift could be from like 10 to 6 or 12 to 8. Like, so, it's a long day. Well, it's an 8-hour day. So, and they would give us, I think, a 45-minute break, and you would go to the canteen, and they would actually pay for your food. And the food can be anywhere from like, I'm trying to remember. This is going back. I haven't thought about this in a long time. Yeah, you get anything from like pastas to pies, like mini pies. You can get kind of like a fancier equivalent of like a chicken fillet in a way. And so they were good, and you got your Cokes, and you're like dispensing at like, remember in a movie theater you can like pour your Cokes and stuff like that. Yeah. No, they were really good, and I think maybe I came in with the idea like I'll get to know so much about beer, but it was more about the history of Guinness and the company and Arthur Guinness and all that kind of stuff. And since I kept peckering at like management to say about this, that beer, that beer, they're like, okay, this guy's really getting into beer. So I was able to work a couple of days, a good amount of times in the OGB, in the Open Gate Brewery. And I've never had bar experience before working at Guinness. So I was always so used to someone give me a ticket, me rip it off, put it into a container, and then pour them a Guinness or pour them a Hop House or whatever, or get them a cider, or for the kids, a Coke or whatever. But when I got to the Open Gate Brewery, I never used how to use a till properly. I never used how to do a cash, like a credit card and stuff like that, a card machine. So over time, that really helped me. And then me to actually get known of like, I didn't know what a Saison at that time was. So I got to drink St. James's Saison, and I fell in love with it. And then you get to know more and more and more. And then by the end of it, they did like a beer school masterclass. So they took all their, I'd say like people who worked there the longest in the Guinness House. And then I was the only person out of Diageo as the RSC, and I got to go on this whole day of drinking beer, knowing what beer is. We did some beer and food pairings as well, and it was brilliant. So it was probably one of the best days I've had, and it's actually one of the highlights on my Instagram page as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could talk for the world about her.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. So they didn't show you anything else then, because I know I listened to the Beer Snobs podcast, Wayne and Janice. And Wayne was saying when he was, I think he worked in I think it was a hotel bar, and before they let him go near the pump or the taps, you have to learn how to change a bar,
Yes, yeah,
and all this. And actually, that being a bar person or barman or whatever was an actual trade, and you actually knew how to clean lines. And people don't know how to do that. Diageo came and said, "We'll clean your lines for you. Don't bother with that, and you can pay."
You pay
some of your own minimum wage.
So I know that Guinness have their own special team that would actually, if they're going to install a Guinness tap into certain pubs or on all pubs, they will always send out a team to check on the lines and stuff. But I still think it's up to the person who either owns the bar or owns the pub should clean the lines, because you should know how to clean beer lines properly and stuff like that.
I hear from several people that Guinness don't know. Guinness will look after your taps for you. That's one of the things they. But I don't want to be. Maybe not. Let's get in trouble with that joke. Sorry.
Well, Diageo bought Guinness in 1996, and it was the biggest thing. It was the kind of biggest merger at that time of alcohol industry. And but like back before Diageo bought Guinness, like Guinness had their, I don't know if they still do today, but they had they cared about their workers so much. Not saying about now, but it's like they had their own dentists, their own doctors for them. So, and when you work for Diageo, and like some of my managers was asking me, am I going to apply to get my contract extended to go from IRC to Diageo? And unfortunately, at that point, I was studying for exams in college, so I had no time to prepare myself for an interview and stuff like that. But they do have their own gyms for Diageo employees and stuff like that.
You're meant to be a very good employer like that.
No, they are, and they're very good at their marketing as well. That would like to get a job in their marketing department in Guinness is crazy. It'll be one of the biggest things on your CV ever.
Yeah. I suppose going to Instagram then. When did you said you started in 2015? Was it kind of at the same time you started drink or exploring different beers? I suppose.
Yeah. So I found that I had an Instagram page just for like my personal use of what I wanted to put up of what me and my mates, having a couple of cans by the canal or whatever, And then I started to find myself, I'll try that. And then I started to find myself actually taking photos and then putting up on this page. And after a while, I was like, I'm using this page more for beers instead of my personal use. So I took down all the photos I had on that page of me, and then I just kept on going with beers. Now, the only thing is, though, most people don't know this. I only start really kind of reviewing beers or recommending them probably of August of 2020. I'd say it was just because my managers was at Brewdog was just saying to me, it's great that you're drinking them and you're putting up, but you're not telling people what's it like, or is it good, or is it bad, And I was like, that's actually smart, because I didn't know. I don't know if I had what's the word am I looking for? I don't know if my palate had advanced that much yet to recommend people and stuff like that, because I know one thing in the industry is that I'm only 24. I know I probably look a lot older with this big beard in my face and stuff like that. But
everyone likes your beard anyhow.
Thanks very much.
Be there for the USA.
But I just noticed that if people don't know you in the industry, or you don't work if you haven't worked in a long time in the industry, it's hard to get in there at a young age. Like, who's this young buck in a sense, and he's done his Cicerone and this, that, and the other. So the only way I get to, I'm not saying it's a tough industry or that people are nasty to you, but I feel like the best way if you're young and you're wanting to get to know beer or want to get into the industries, read, study, get to know, and work in a pub and work in a bar, work how to clean lines, how to change kegs. If you have knowledge, then no one can diss you in that sense, because you've got the knowledge and you can have actually hold a conversation with some people. I found that that was kind of hard, because the people I talked to would be at least minimum 5 years and older than me, like 5 years and up and stuff like that. So 5 years.
Most people in craft are kind of a bit older, I think. So maybe they've been around and home brewing and
Yeah,
Just to
100%.
start out.
Yeah, they've always they've home brewed, and they've been in the trade a lot longer. So it's harder for someone of either my age or younger to stand their ground and saying, "Oh, I think this beer was okay, but I don't know." So I've only probably really reviewed then 300, I'd say, out of the 1100 and stuff like that. But I would, fun enough, I would remember if it was a good beer or a bad beer, depending on the photo and because I always try to have a different background.
Yeah.
Beer, so.
So what would be your worst beer then for the last?
Jesus Christ.
I'll go first then. If you want me,
you go first. You go first. Because
OJ, I got I think it was 3 beers from OJ. They're from Belgium. I think it was a 5%. I think it was 16 and 20.
percentage.
And they were awful. The 5% was barely drinkable. It was a Pilsner. But the 16 and 20% were like.
And these beers
industrial or lab, like alcohol. Like it was just, they weren't drinkable. I didn't get through my window. If you look at my channel, both of them went outside the window.
Yeah. I would say this though. The question is a very good question, but it's like, is it beers that
are personal taste? Like it doesn't.
Oh yes.
It doesn't mean it's a bad beer. It's just your taste.
Yeah, no. I would have two answers, because if it's just a beer that's brewed once off, and I'll say it's still one of the worst beers ever, or if it's a beer that's consistently being brewed but it sells, but I think it's just terrible in taste or it's got no flavor.
Yeah, that's good.
I would say it's gotta be like just some of the beers that I've drank is like Dutch Gold and anything that is that of, and they're in cans and there's just no flavor whatsoever. Or like what did I drink that was just, I don't know if you would consider a beer, but like there's this So beer thing, the non-alcoholic.
I haven't had it. I've seen around.
Yeah, non-alcoholic beneficial beer. I'm like, what are you trying to? You're trying to be like a beer and an isotonic drink, so just stick to one or the like, not to both. But I would have to say, now it was a gimmick, and I understand why people bought it. But and some people liked it, but for me personally, I just thought it was disgusting. Was White Hag's Shamrock Shake Ice Cream Ale?
I wouldn't buy it just because.
In fairness,
green
beer. In fairness, now, I knew I would get a lot of views on my live Instagram, drinking a green beer, and people would say, "Look at his face. Your face says it all," and you can read the comments. I felt like it was Antarctica going down your throat if you like eat too many minty sweets and drink really cold water. We were the very first craft brewery, and when they were established. Oh God, that's a good question.
In Cork, what do you call them? I can't think of it. Carda Brewing Company, O'Hara's are one of the first. What's the ones in Cork? I can't think of them.
Franciscan Well?
Yeah. They were one of the first, I think.
Okay. Because I know that White Gypsy have been around since like the 90s, I'd say.
So they'd be around the first, we say craft ones, and then you can go to Guinness and Smithwick's and all of them.
Yeah.
Let's see what.
So I would have to say the White Hag, definitely, that kind of stuff, because I know it was a gimmick, but like, and some people liked it. I was like, I just don't know how you did, but for me personally, I thought it was just no.
I was kind of after ordering beer that time, and I wasn't going to order more just for that. I suppose good points and bad points about Instagram then. And have you bad comments? Any bad comments on your page?
The only bad comments I've ever had, because it's the funny thing, once I start reviewing beers, it's not like I've never had a comment saying, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about," or "Stop lying," or "You don't know shit," because I do know shit because I'm studying, so I should know it, and I work in a bar. So, but the only bad comment, I remember I've had beef with someone on Instagram, but this is years ago now, and they were trying to tell me that Five Lamps wasn't a craft brewery, right? And I can understand their points. So I went to them, like, it has to be owned, like at least 25% of the company has to be owned by the person who founded the company. It has to produce this like there's no, like the definition of craft brewery is so variant. So it's like, what what you go by, or it's like they local source of ingredients and they have to produce like less than this amount of barrels or kegs per year. But anyway, I was having a bit of beef with this guy. The reason why I was so strong about Five Lamps is because my neighbor down the road is the head brewer of Five Lamps.
Yeah.
And I was able to work at least 2 days free just to learn what's it like to work in a brewery. And taking the mash out of the mash tun is not a fun job at all. So, but honestly, no. Like it's otherwise comments saying, "Oh, I thought this was really good," or stuff. And when people kind of go at me saying, "Oh, I think this is really good," and you don't know what you're talking about, it's just like your palate is different to my palate. Has Celtic Beers ever been to the States? No, I haven't been to the States since I was able to drink, in a sense. Even at the age of 18, I used to live in the States when I was very young at the time, but I was like 2 or 3 years old, so I don't remember shit. But I've never had really bad comments, and if I do, I just say, "All right, then." It's like it's great that you had enough time in your life to leave me a bad comment. It really shows you. No worries. It really just shows
you as well. So good luck, US viewers. Good comments then. Any comment that you opened Instagram and
so like any comments, I would say the ones I would have to say that are the probably nicest comment is that when they compliment your review or say, "Hey man, you got that spot on. I tasted the exact same thing as you," or it's like, "Nice job taking the photo," or "Keep going, man," and stuff like that. And sometimes when I do beer schools for Brewdog, I just do them off the books because it keeps me busy, and as well as like I did a beer school for 24 bartenders in Cork through the distributor that we have with Brewdog in Ireland, and your man who organized the whole thing had done a whole nice post about me and just thanking me about the whole beer school, and maybe we could do another one with a different range of beers that are maybe either stronger or a bit more like imperial stouts and coffee and all that kind of stuff. And it was really nice, and people were commenting, "Hey, thanks Celtic Beer so much for doing that. It was an awesome beer school, great funny stories, great beers, really knowledgeable and all that kind of stuff." Because I've had times where I do a beer school and someone asks me a question, I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't know this on the top of my head." So I like, think on your toes, think on your toes, think on your toes. But yeah, otherwise bad comments, I'm just like, that's your deal. It's so nice that they took the time out of their life and energy to leave a bad comment, because it really shows that they really care about you.
All interactions have to push your content. That's what I think. I suppose getting back, what were you like in school then?
School.
School.
I would say school. That's a good question. Good question to remember. I hated school. I kid you not. I'm dyslexic, so school was not my. I hated it. I hated English. I hate grammar and stuff like that. Now I'm finding myself reading all the time, and it's a total flip at the moment, because once I found something passionate about, I'm interested. School was fine. I just hated it because of my dyslexia. Though I did physics and maths, and I loved that kind of stuff, and I loved PE as well. I don't know if I love PE so much anymore, or sports, because of beer, so that's a big turn of difference. But school was grand, and then college was just literally just get through it and just have fun. And now you're into the real world, is like your job. The first proper job is the hardest, and after that you can work on your CV and going higher and higher. So just.
What did you do in college? Sorry.
I did business and marketing in college. So my parents had always thought that I was always really good connecting with people or talking to people. So they and I'm very persuasive, because I persuaded my parents within 6 months to get a dog. So I was like, okay, that's good. So I did business and marketing. And yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was fun to learn some kind of cool things, like about organic research or paid research. So if you're typing in like a brewing system, and the first thing that comes up is like no paid adverts, like it's organic in that sense, or if it's paid, you would see paid advertisement, and so companies would pay to come up. What are you drinking?
I am now on this Rhinebecker. Sorry, I am.
Okay. Nice.
Adding beers for me. That's all I have. So getting on to What's your personal preference then for beer? If you're picking a beer, what style?
So, this is such a tough question.
It's sunny outside. I'll give you that. It's
Can
absolutely
I pick
sunny.
can I pick
1-5 in Ireland to get a year.
can I pick can I pick 3 different styles?
Yeah.
Okay. So probably one of them right now is Vienna lagers. The reason why I love Vienna lagers is because after a really hard day's work, you don't want a beer to want a beer to think or to and like look at it and kind of like review it. You just want a beer to drink. But I find that a lot of pilsners or helles are just quite, there's no richness in them and stuff like that. Has Celticbeers ever drank too much on a live stream? No, I have not yet.
Not yet. Not
yet. At least not yet. But Vienna lagers, I feel like just have a bit more depth and flavor and richness, and I just really like them. I feel like they're a dying-off breed as well. They're not really popular with anyone, and they're quite hard to come by because I only know 2 breweries that consistently brew them, which is White Gypsy and Dewdrop Brew with their Zayat, I think it's called their Vienna lager. So that's one that I love. Next would probably, I think it's a common one, is New England IPAs. You know, really high in alcohol, really juicy, no bitterness. It feels like you're drinking mango juice in that sense. And I think it was just because of the craze that was going on with it. And then my last one is a Saison. And my first ever Saison, I remember, was St. James's Gate Saison in the Open Gate Brewhouse. And I didn't know what a Saison was. And once I tried it, I fell in love with it. And the next proper Saison that I drank, and I bought more than, like, I probably bought, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 cans of this stuff, was Yellow Belly's Where's Wallonia. They did a couple of years ago, and I fell in love with that so much. And I have a Saison downstairs by, is it Donkey Brewing? Black Donkey Brewing, I think it's called. It's an Irish brewery.
Black Donkey, yeah,
Black Donkey. I've never had a Saison before that from these guys, so I have high hopes, but we'll see how it goes.
What is a Saison then? If you have a better knowledge than me, what is a Saison?
So a Saison is it is a beer from Belgium, and the flavor profile is mainly from the yeast from the beer. So it's not from the malt or hops, which do help out the beer, but the yeast is the biggest factor because the yeast of a Saison ferments at a lot higher temperature than a normal ale yeast, as well as Saison means
temperature.
29 degrees, so about 6 or 7 degrees higher than an ale would be. And then Saison means in the season, and how the fuck does that name come about, or how did they get this name? Basically, in the, I won't say olden times, but like in the 1700s, 1800s, you would have farmhouse breweries in a sense. So you have farmers doing their grain and stuff, and then they also have a brewery on the side. And what they found was that if they brewed this beer at a lower percentage, traditionally as a lower percentage beer that was like going color in that sense, that they would give to their workers to have at lunchtime or during the day, so they can quench their thirst, and maybe as like a little reward at the end of the day for working your hard work. And then as kind of died out, and then it's been revived again. And Saisons have kind of re-established, like the probably best known Saison in the world is Saison Dupont. And I have a massive 750 ml bottle in the shed right now, which I still have to drink with a person, because if I did that to myself,
how good of luck is on your shed? Just in case.
Yeah, it's like that beer, that Saison Dupont is, I believe it's 6% or just under that. So, it's quite strong. And stuff.
Beers, if you probably notice, beers of Belgium or whatever they are, if you search them, the delivered to Ireland, probably something you would be interested in. Belgian beers for me, hit and miss. I wouldn't.
So I really love Belgian beers when they're from Belgium.
That's beers that they deliver directly from Belgium. They're pretty reasonable in price.
Yeah.
And deliver. If you were interested in getting.
Yeah, though, do I like Belgium style beers from Irish breweries? I feel like some breweries do them really well. Canvas from Tipperary do a lot of Belgium style beers, like a Quad or Duvel and stuff like that. I didn't hear them. I've never heard of them beforehand until Craft Beer Community had them on one of the sessions that they did a couple months ago, and I had their Quad, which was amazing, and I had their smoked sour. And I didn't like that. I felt like there were some sanitational issues or some off flavorings with that. Basically like Band-Aid or some off flavoring of phenolic spice to it, which shouldn't be in it.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of a hospital, which is not a pleasant. It shouldn't be in the beer at all. But for Irish brewers to do Belgian beers, look, if you really research your beer, crack down on the. And I know that breweries kind of have their own twist in it, but if you do your homework, you should be able to do a good beer.
Yeah. Okay, this is gonna be a weird question.
Go.
How, in 3 words, how would a friend describe you?
Oh, 3 words.
Friends. If you have friends, sorry.
Okay, well, I'm thinking of all the friends now. I'd say the first word will come to me is factual. I love numbers and I love knowing facts. Factual would be would be the one that would stand out. I would be good with people, so I would have like a good emotional connection with people. And it's weird because I'm an only child, so it's only have to put up with my parents. So it's like I don't have any siblings, so it's like how do I connect with people? But I good. And then thirdly, I want to tie it to beer, but I don't know if I do.
No, it's not your friends would like. If so, they would say,
I'm
the beer guy.
Yeah, well, they know me as the beer guy, but they would always like. The thing is, like, if they text me, "Hey, do you want to go for a pint?" I'll more like 9 out of 10 times, I'd always say yes. So I'm always up for a thing, unless I've got some later that night or I have to get up early in the morning. And even if I had work the next day, I would still go out for a couple of pints, which is a very stupid thing to do.
But you're young, you're able to do it.
Yeah.
Wait till you're in your 30s, you won't be able to do that. First phone. You're very young, so you should remember.
First phone.
First mobile phone.
Oh, it was a Sony Ericsson. I can't remember the model, but it looked like a ripped off version of the Nokia 3310. So it was a Sony Ericsson, but pure white, and it was like a rectangular brick. And it was pure white with like orange behind the buttons and stuff like that.
How old are you? Sorry.
Oh, how old was I? I would say I was. Oh, that's a good question. When did I get my first phone? I know for a fact that I wasn't like the first kid in school, in my class to get the first phone. So I'm trying to. He got in second class. I might have been as like I might have been 10 or 11.
Okay, pretty young, I think. But like they weren't.
Yeah, a lot of kids in my class had phones a lot before me. So I was one of the later ones. I think about 2 years after that of when the kid in my class had got his first phone.
Yeah. Okay. This one probably might apply to your first car.
I don't have a car. I am.
Can you drive?
No, I don't drive. I know what's a 24-year-old man not doing to drive. I live quite close to the city, and everywhere I either go to school or work, it's always been in a walking distance. I prefer to walk. And fun fact is,
have you ever driven then?
Oh yes, I have driven. I remember my dad is from Laois, and he's got a cousin who owns a farm. Okay. And for one summer, we had to build a massive kind of like pond lake, and I was 16 at the time, and with no driver experience, he said, "Get up on that."
Tractor?
Tractor, but also he trusted me enough to drive a dump truck. So he taught me how to drive a dump truck with no gears, so it was only even first. And it's not like I could, get the keys and switch in. We had like sparks and everything, and I had to. Yeah, it was fun. I drove it for about a week, and I was actually very good at it. I was good at with spatial awareness, so I knew where it was. He really tested me. Is where I had to drive the 14th dumper truck. Yeah, but with ditches on the side of the road. So if I tipped it over, I'd be fucked then. But I was able to do it. So I think I've got good good car driving skills, but I have to wait to actually do my fucking theory and everything like that.
Plans for the future to get it?
It is, yeah. The one thing I would say though is like if you want to get into beer and you want to work for a brewery, get a driver's license. Because the one thing that they would always ask you is that if you could deliver this package or do you have a driver's license so you can drive around different bars or pubs or to people's houses delivering off beer and stuff like that. So it's a really good thing on your CV.
Yeah. How much do you spend in beer then? A week or a month or?
Oh shit. This is the question that a lot of people do ask me because I every day I either get a new beer or this and the other.
Do you have a limit?
No.
Do you say
no, I don't have a no. I don't have a limit. And the great thing is that I'm on the PUP from the government, so I'm like, hey, fuck it, why not? I don't really spend I don't really spend much money on anything else except for, let's say, books about beer, or I can't remember last time I bought new clothes, to be honest with you. I won't lie. Beer though, I'd say I would say I could spend maybe about 150 every 2 weeks, so about 300 a month. Now I know that people are like, oh geez, like when you think about it, you could spend easily 100 quid on a night out, with the shots and pints and stuff like that. I'll get you this round, you get me the next one, right? I do buy quite a lot of expensive beers or beers to age for quite an amount of time. So I've got at least 20 beers of Firestone Walkers that have been gone back from 2017, so barley wines and imperial stouts and stuff like that. I can tell you the most expensive beer I've bought.
Okay, how much?
Right, so my local is Redmond's in Ranelagh, that has an amazing craft beer selection, about 400 different beers. So they're great selection. I would say, so I'll tell you the beer, right? And I want you to guess the price of it. When was the last time you saw your chin? The last time I saw my chin was probably 6 years ago. 6 years ago. I haven't seen my chin since. I bought Brewdog Sink the Bismarck, which was a 41% quadruple IPA. So it's a 41% beer.
Yeah, I can't remember that. That was like, I saw it around 30 or 40 euros.
I spent €109 because for one beer, and the beer size is 375 mils, and like this guy, what is it? This guy's 500 mils, so it's smaller than this guy, and I spent €109. The reason why I spent it that much is because I'm a waiter as well in Brewdog, so you're a waiter and a bartender, so you have to do both jobs, not at the same time, obviously, but if someone can work there, you work there, and so you get tips, and what we do is we pull all the tips together, and then depending on the amount of hours you get that amount of tips, right? So I've been saving my tips for me knowing to do a live Instagram for me to drink that beer. It's on my beer page. It's my 1,000 post.
Yeah, if anyone watching go up, I pinned his channel to the comments.
Thank you very much.
Subscribe and hit the notification.
Yeah, it was that has the most views. It's got about 700 views on that.
Did you get they did a shop for a Brewdog to the shop version? I'm not sure if it was available in Ireland. About a year ago, wasn't it? I'm not sure what it was. I saw a lot of the YouTubers in Britain got. I can't think of what it was, but it was like 40 euros for like 37 CL.
Oh, was it the most recently most strongest beer in the world?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so it's called Strength in Numbers, and it's a 57.8% ice bock. And if people don't know what an ice bock is, it's basically the strongest style of lager that you can get. And you're wondering, how do you create a beer so strong without distilling it? There's a thing called freeze distillation. So if you have, let's say, a really strong lager, and then you use, let's say, lager yeast, but maybe some champagne yeast, they give it up to 12% or whatever. What you do is you get a mass container and you put it into a freezer, and whatever freezes is pure like water in that sense. Whatever is not frozen is just a stronger flavor and alcohol beer in that sense. And you just keep on doing it. So when I did the beer school for the 24 bartenders from Cork, I couldn't get paid, but Brewdog gave me a nice little Strength in Numbers as a little gift in a sense. And I get a kick out of them anyway. I love doing the beer schools anyway. So it's not like I won't do it about you guys pay me. So it's a nice little gift. So I have that in the shed, and I might open that for my 2000th post because, and again, it's like a 40 ml. It's like a shot.
Yes, it is a shot.
It is a shot.
What do you think of that, though? Personally, what do you think of a brewery releasing something like that at the price? I can't remember what it was, but it was expensive.
It was about £30, so it's about, I think, like £29 for that stuff.
I know they're your employer now, but what do you think of that?
No, like, I'll tell us my honest opinion about it, like, because otherwise, like, how, like, then I'll be.
Yes.
I want to be true and like a real person. So, what do I think about a brewery that does that type of stuff? I will say this. I'd say that BrewDog has introduced what beer is, what beer should be to a lot of people what they didn't know what beer was. So what I thought of beer, I thought of Guinness, and I thought of Heineken, and I thought of Dutch Gold. I thought that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But when I started finding out about IPAs and Pilsners and Helles lagers and all these different styles, I got more intrigued with it. And BrewDog had that wide range, not traditional like of a in you know grapefruit infused IPA, but they opened my mind. But for BrewDog to brew something that much at that price, you're like, I always think about it. If you want to be a brewery or a brewer, you think about the amount of time and effort you spend on creating a great product. Not and now a flavor is different because you could say the product is great, but the flavor is different and stuff like that. But just think about the time and effort that people go in to brew this stuff, and your money you spend on this stuff, and it goes back to their pockets, and more or less in that retrospect.
Yeah.
I like how they push the boundaries of what beer can be in that sense, and because there's no legal limit of what beer, like alcohol limited, is. There's no law against it. So it's great that they're doing that stuff, and it's not like I know that I'd say there's German breweries that are doing that, and Americans are doing the most weirdest shit in the world, like blue beer, like beer that looks like turquoise color. So I feel like I like very traditional style beer. Like I'm drinking a Vienna lager that I understand what it's meant to be. But I love trying weird shit too. Like in the shed I have outside, I've got a saison that's been aged in gin barrels, and I fucking hate gin, but I love saison. So I'm going to see what the two are like together. So I love the weird and wacky shit, but I do love traditional what stuff should be by guidelines. So yeah,
the Irish craft beer guy on
Instagram. Well, yeah, no, I do like it.
Getting back to, do you think BrewDog are still BrewDog? Because I think Punk IPA is not Punk IPA anymore.
Oh yeah, so there's that question. So I've seen a lot of people who drank BrewDog in like from 2007 to 2010, or let's say from 2007 to 2015. I know that people say that BrewDog is not the same, or let's say the Punk IPA is not the same anymore. I never drank that type of BrewDog, so I only drank up with the BrewDog I know today. But what we've known in what we've seen from customers and stuff like that is that we've seen people loving the flavor of the beer, but we've seen people preferring a little lower alcohol content and stuff like that. And I'll explain why. Okay, I see your face is twitching. I was like, oh, what's going on here? I'd say this, right? I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, BrewDog is a huge company. It's massive. Yeah. We've got over 100 bars around the world, and they started in Scotland only like 14 years ago, and it's just massive now. Like we've got one in. I think we're trying to think of opening a bar in Las Vegas and other bars around the world, and we actually just opened a bar in Mumbai in India, which is mental, What I'm gonna they're big, they're huge, which is great because they can get around the world and to tell people what craft beers, but it's not like they're not trying to create new beers and stuff like they're creating new beers all the fucking time. Like I would think only last week they released 3 new beers. Now again, with Brexit going on, it's hard for us in Ireland trying beers over here. It's ridiculous, it's stupid with Brexit going on. But as Punk goes on, we found that people do love the flavor, but maybe a lighter alcohol content, so they can buy more of it in that sense. So instead of just picking up, let's say, 2 cans that is a 6% beer, they'll pick up 4 cans because it's 5% beer, and people don't know that not every one beer that's 5% or 4.5% is one unit. If you multiply,
but you're saying that to me that sounds like an accountant's decision. Because if you want to create a lower ABV beer, don't call it, keep Punk IPA the same and say this is low alcohol Punk.
Well, we have. But
you shouldn't make that.
But it's like with every business, the idea behind a business is to create money, or is to make money in sense. So for them to, they're not like exploiting people at all. It's just like we still have it's still the same taste and flavor, but just a lower alcohol. And yet BrewDog we have Uncle Duke's Imperial Stout, which is a 13% beer in a 330ml can, and for them to be able to grab that, especially in like the UK and stuff, it's you can't really compare them to any other brewery out there that is that size, but yet only make like Guinness. Yeah, they make about 20 different beers, but they're not going to throw in green tea leaves or bagels. They're very strict to the rules. In America, they're different. Like Dogfish Head is massive, but they're willing to try some stuff out there. I've spoken to people about this, and again, I just say to you, look, it's what you prefer. It's like it's your taste buds, like, and it's everyone's different in their flavor wise.
Yeah, but then I suppose there is certain people at the start who have invested in BrewDog, have BrewDog shares.
Yeah.
And I know people now say, why the hell they're not the same anymore. They're not, they've changed.
Did you feel like their ethos has changed?
Yeah, I don't think would feel no connection to BrewDog.
When did you feel connected to BrewDog?
Yeah. I thought BrewDog would be something.
When did you feel a connection to BrewDog?
When I first had Punk IPA, and I thought this was a really good beer, a really good price, and available. But they've changed. And I know hops can change, and I know malt can change. And for a small brewery, I can accept consistency problems. But if you're going to mess with a beer so much, that's your core beer, I have a problem with it.
I can understand that, but like their whole idea of a business is to make beer and to create money.
Yeah, but charge me 50 cents more and I'll buy Punk IPA. Charge me €1 more.
Like here's the question then, if we had let's say 20 people like you versus 1,000 that would prefer a local beer, they're going to with 1,000 because they make more money that way and stuff like that. And again, it's that's why is like as a microbrewery and a macrobrewery and stuff like that, as like the smaller-ish breweries is like that's why a lot of breweries don't grow, because sometimes they're scared to experiment to go to that standard and stuff. And again, like trying to buy hops in America as a brewery that size is extremely expensive from the Yakima Valley in Washington.
Yeah, hops are expensive, and the small breweries say that. That's why, a 440ml can is €6. Hops, it could be a couple of €1,000 for it.
But if you go into a bar, let's say you go into any bar, let's say not a craft beer bar because you would have so many choice there. But if you go into a bar, right? Because I've had people at me, it's all craft. BrewDog's not craft beer, but yet you're willing to drink Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and you think that's like you consider that craft? I was like, that's from America as well. So BrewDog from Scotland and Sierra Nevada from America.
No, Sierra Nevada is not craft beer, but it is. I haven't seen it change too much over the time I've drank it. It's a level entry beer, what I'd call.
Yeah, it's just and I've talked to people about this. Like,
They're not craft. No, Sierra Nevada is not craft. It's a major brewery.
But it was that's when Sierra Nevada were one of the very first breweries to be craft as time went on from the 1970s, 80s, 90s, and above, and they got bigger as well. Like, it's just like you would have AV and Vev who buy other breweries out and stuff like that, and in England as well. But again, like it's everyone's preference of what they enjoy the most, If I'm talking to someone about beer and they love the Scroat, they love the Scroat. I'm not going to hate on that.
No, I like to drink beer is beer. If that's what you like, buy it.
100%. So it's just a question again I can get asked a lot.
Okay, we'll get away from that. We've had enough arguments there. Are we alone? Are we alone? That's the question. Answer.
Are we alone?
Yeah.
What in the world? Like in like UFOs?
I don't know. You answer.
I would say I anything's possible at this stage. At anything. So I wouldn't say I would say we're not alone. I would say that. I'm not saying I'm a believer of aliens or UFOs, but like anything can happen.
Okay.
If an alien came down to Earth, the first thing I'm going to offer him is a beer and see how they react. And if they explode, we know that alcohol or ethanol is bad for them.
Okay. Last time you cried.
Oh, that's a good one. I would have to say I'm very emotional, so I think the last time I cried is when a dog died in a movie or something like that. No, I don't give a shit about the people in the
No,
movie.
last time you cried. Now, come on.
I can't remember it, but I would say I remember it's there's a movie called Eight Below with I want to say Paul. Is it Paul Walker is in the movie? The guy from Fast and Furious who plays Brian O'Connor, and he's in a dog sled team, and there's a big storm or whatever, and he had to leave the 8 dogs behind. And I'll let you watch the rest of the movie, but yeah, that was probably the last time I cried for that. Yeah, definitely. I've had dogs. I've had dogs all my life, so that's why I get really upset and stuff.
What's the name for your dog?
My dog, we have a small brown Labrador, and her name's Carrie, and she's a rescue, and we've had her for the last 10 years. 10 years?
Okay. Would you obey an order to hurt someone?
Would I what?
Would you obey an order to hurt someone?
Would I obey to hurt someone?
Yeah, an order.
No. No, I would never. If someone told me to do it, I would never hurt someone unless it was like.
What if someone had a gun to your dog and said,
"Yeah, oh no, yeah, oh sorry, yeah." Like if someone was threatening to kill my dog or whatever, then I'd fucking stop them, or I would.
You
probably
can't stop them hurting the dog, but they say we're gonna hurt someone you love unless you do something bad to someone else.
Oh yeah, then I would.
Okay, yeah. Would you be?
These are mad.
Three people who have died. Who would you invite to a dinner?
Oh, three
famous and dead family or friends, sir.
Okay. Oh, that's a really good question. Oh, that's a really tough question. Oh fuck, that's a good one.
That's why I ask it.
Yeah, that's a bastard. Okay. I would have to actually, yeah, okay, here. I would have to bring back my 2 grandfathers that they died before I was born, so I'd love to know who they were, what they were like. My 2 grandfathers, and I would have to bring back as someone a bit of fun.
No. You can go family and friends tree.
Okay, family and friends, and then random people.
Yeah,
random celebrities. My two grandfathers, and what's someone? I'd say my grandmother as well. Actually, I only have one grandmother left, so it's the 3 others. So it's my 2 grandfathers who I never knew, and then my grandmother who had passed away in like 2009, so I was kind of young. Spend more time with them, and then 3 celebrities. I would say, Michael Collins, Martin McGuinness. You can see the trend here, can you? And Bobby Sands. But if let's say if I invited one of them and they didn't want to come, I would invite then Brian Boru.
Can you speak Irish?
No, I can't, unfortunately. Even though I tried to learn in school, with being dyslexic, you hate words and hate learning new languages. So,
perfect day.
Perfect day. Oh, yeah. Perfect day. You're so good at these questions. Perfect day would have to be like in the future or like right now.
No, perfect day.
For fuck's sake! I love how people are so broad with questions. I'd say I have to be a perfect day. Like get up and early, even though I never do anymore. Get up before the sun or during the sunrise. I enjoy a good days of work. So, go to work, or if I do work in a brewery, start brewing beer. When I do get that stage of owning my own brewery, and then, finish early, have either my girlfriend join me and a couple of mates, as well, have a couple of beers, enjoy and like sit outside and it's a nice temperature where you can wear t-shirts, but it's not like sticky hot, but it's a nice hot, and let the evening roll and just kind of come home. Probably get a takeaway, a nice dirty takeaway, kebab, I would say, and then either probably watch a movie then. I'm very simple in that sense. I just enjoy a really good, hard-working day. If you're trying to talk to me when I'm stressed out in work, that's probably different. But otherwise, yeah.
Okay. What does death mean to you?
What does death mean to me? That you've had a good life. It's over now. You can watch your children grow up and all that kind of stuff. You know, you've been on this earth for an amount of time that God let you. I'm not a very religious person, but as an Irish person, you kind of just bring God in here now and again, you know.
Okay.
I have a heart condition, so I don't know if I'll actually live to the age of the average man in Ireland or younger, unfortunately. But live a good age, you know. Just your time on earth and just move on, you know. Fuck it.
So do you believe in an afterlife?
I would like to think so. Yeah, I do believe in a heaven, and I do believe that you know, after there I could just drink my way to hell in a sense. No, heaven, I meant.
Do you think you get into heaven?
Do I think I can get into heaven?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I learned from my dad was if you grow up in this life, and as long as you can provide a service that will benefit not the economy but benefit to human beings in general, then you've done a good thing in life, you know. And I think that thing would be brewing great ass kicking ass beer, you know.
Do you have any fear for the future?
Do I have any fear for the future?
You're too young for this question.
Yeah, probably, but fuck it. I would have fear of my heart. A lot of people don't know, but I'll say it now. And I'm comfortable saying it. I have a heart condition, so I was born with this. It's not like I got it when I was like 2 and then grew up with it. I was born with it. So my heart condition is transmission of the great arteries. So when I was born, my arteries were in the wrong place, so they switched them. And normally after that, you're fine on most cases. And there's probably about 12 cases every year that happens to these children in Ireland. But as I got older, my arteries of those that switched started collapsing. So I have 5 stents in me. So I've got like 2 normal tubes and then a Y one. And normally you kind of get stents when you're like fucking 60 and you know on your deathbed. Not really, but you get these when you're a lot older. So my biggest kind of like the biggest fear I have or failure would be like me having another surgery where it doesn't go so well, because I've had 8 major surgeries so far, and then I've had keyholes, so I could add another couple, add another 4 onto that. So that's probably my biggest fear, is my heart. And I don't know if beer helps it, but in all moderation and in balance.
Would that be your lowest point in life?
That's a good question. Jesus, I should feel like you should be on a chat still. You'll kick out Graham Norton's ass in this kind of stuff, man.
Maybe someday.
I would say, that's fuck now. I'd say my lowest point in life was oh shit, that's a really good question. Okay. I'd say, oh yeah, now I remember. Okay. I would say my lowest point was when I had 4 surgeries while I was in college, 2 in second year and then 2 in fourth year, I believe. And my lowest point was when find out that I had to get a second surgery because the pressure in my arteries didn't drop enough. So in a normal situation, if I'm trying to remember, is that like the normal pressure in your arteries I think is around like 20 to 30, or maybe 25 to 30. Mine before the big surgery I had in a couple of years ago was at 90 or 85. So almost 4 times. It was really high. So when I found out that they were able to drop the pressure, which is great, but they didn't drop it enough, and I had to find out that I had another surgery because I was hoping at that time when I had that surgery I wasn't going to have another one for 10 years. And don't get me wrong, it's not like, you know, I get really scared. It's just knowing that, like, oh, for fuck's sake, I have to go through the whole experience again. And, you know, and I won't lie, having surgery with your heart and they go through the leg because the arteries are the biggest there. You walk like Gollum from Lord of the Rings for quite a bit, for a couple of days and a bit of week and stuff. But I think my body's so used to it having so many surgeries. It's like, oh, fucking another one. Let's go around about again. You'll be fine then. So.
What makes you angry?
Oh, okay. Here's a good one, and it's been bugging me a lot. I don't know how you feel about it, but COVID has been taking a toll on me a lot lately. Just because I've had friends who are questioning the vaccine, and I can understand the questioning, but it's just they're not. It's like when you do your research and you do your studying, and I know I'm not a scientist, but you trying to learn out what's going into your body and all this kind of stuff. And it's annoying when you're trying to convince someone that the vaccines are good and they're meant to be good for you and all this kind of stuff, and to help us get out of lockdown. And you get people who complain about lockdown, but yet they're the ones who go to house parties and stuff. It's like, you're not fucking helping anyone, you know? So do
you think your friends would question if you put a shot in front of them in a nightclub? Do you think they question you?
They don't drink as much as me.
Yeah, but no, like I'm just saying, if you put a shot in front of them in a nightclub, would they question you?
No.
Would they question the person?
If I put a shot up,
yeah, like I'm saying, if there was something in it, like.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, they
would say, "Shot, let's go."
Yeah, like they would trust me, because the one thing is that they know me, that I know about alcohol, so they wouldn't question.
Yeah. We'll say then if it was in a bartender come up to you, here's a shot, go on, take it.
They know they would. Funny enough, that's the funny part of it. They would.
Would they take something else if it's put in front of them?
No, they wouldn't.
Okay, best accomplishment.
It is. It is accomplishment.
Best accomplishment in life.
Yeah.
Best accomplishment.
Oh, best accomplishment. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah.
Probably, man, your beard is fucking great, or it looks great. It's majestic. It's anything to do with the beard, in fairness. So it's probably that stuff.
Okay. Have you overcome any bad habits?
Any bad habits?
Yeah. Smoking.
Oh, no, I don't smoke. Any bad habits like that?
Have you smoked?
Yes. Yeah, I have smoked. I have smoked in the past, which is stupid as me as a person with a heart condition, in fairness.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that I was 16 at the time in school, right? And one of my friend's parents had spotted me, and not their child. It was someone else in my class. And so that parent had told my mother, and then my mother had to talk to me that day. I was like, that was a fun experience. Bad habits, I would say. I'm not trying to, like, you know, be all perfect and shit, but I'd say probably oh god, I don't know.
You can say nothing, like, if you don't want, if nothing, you're young, man.
I got one. I'd say I take things too personal sometimes, and I know that that's Rich from Company, who literally says you shouldn't give a fuck what people say on your beer page or comments.
Yeah.
But I didn't grow up with siblings, so I never had that kind of foundation of slagging unless I was in school with my mates. So I'd say sometimes I'd be too sensitive in certain ways, and then emotion would get over me and stuff like that.
Okay. Most important person in your life. You have to say your girlfriend. I'm sorry.
Fuck. Fuck. My girlfriend at the moment. Yeah, definitely. My girlfriend at the moment.
At the moment.
Yeah, at the moment. My girlfriend. We met. Funny enough, we met her on Tinder, of like last year during COVID, which is crazy. And she's from England though, and so we've only seen each other twice ever. So we haven't seen each other since October. So it's been really tough on our relationship, you know, during these times and stuff like that. Yeah. But we're getting through it.
Do you wake up happy or sad?
Most days, no, yeah. Most, I'd say like 9 out of 10 days, I'd be happy because either I got a thing like I was looking for. So this got me through the week. Doing your Q&A with like you in kind of questions and stuff. So that got me through the week. Either doing a beer school or doing a podcast with my buddies, or every Saturday night for the last year, me and my mates from school always have go on Zoom and have a couple of drinks and just talk shit and play games and stuff like that. So most days, and then some days you can have a bad day, and that's normal. So
yeah. If you don't have lows, you'll never have highs. That's my opinion. Introvert or extrovert?
Oh, extrovert, 100%.
Okay.
What am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely an extrovert. You put me in a room with 20 random people, I'll be talking to
them. Are you drawn to an introvert or extrovert person?
I'd say I'm more drawn to extrovert, but I like introverted people as well, but more or less extroverted people.
Okay. What makes you smile?
Beer, and family and friends and my girlfriend. But I won't lie, the first thing that came into my head was beer. I'm sorry.
Not your girlfriend. Okay. Nature or nurture?
Nature or nurture?
Yeah.
Nature.
Would you steal in the right circumstance?
I have stolen in the right circumstance.
Yeah. Would you steal in the future?
Would I steal in the future?
Yeah.
No, not anymore.
So if I told you circumstances went against you, you're hungry, you're in a supermarket will never notice you've stolen food.
You know what the funny thing is? I mistook some bagels because I didn't put them on the fucking belt a little down the road, and I forgot that they were in my bag, and I just got away with it. So I was like, oh shit. I'm not that type of person that will bring them back saying sorry, I forgot these, but it's just like
I'm saying like you're hungry.
Am I homeless?
Well, let's say you're not homeless, but let's say you have no money and
then I would steal
for a couple of days. The supermarket's not going to miss it. You'll get away with it. Would you steal?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Would you help someone in trouble?
Yes. Oh fuck no! Wait, that came out way so fast. Shit. Would I help someone who's in trouble?
Yeah. Be careful.
Oh, good. No, but you're not. You're giving me a very broad. You're giving me a very broad question. You like in trouble that they murdered someone, or in trouble that a car is on their leg and I need to get them out of it, otherwise they're going to die. So like, there's two very. Yes, I would.
Yes, that's the point. You never really good interview them.
I would help someone if they're in trouble.
So if your friend came to you and said they've accidentally knocked someone down in the car and have driven away, you'd help them.
If they were the person that had if the person got
accidentally knocked someone down, they've driven away in panic, you'd help them.
Yes, because that person can attack them. There's always an answer for something. I can always find a positive in a negative. I know that sounds.
Okay. Would you be a good eyewitness to a crime?
Yes, because I got 4 of them. 4 eyes because of my specky glasses. No, I wouldn't.
Would you, if you were under duress, still give evidence against someone?
These questions are fucking mad. It's like if the person is my friend, like what then? What do I do?
Like, let's say you witnessed a shooting because of gang crime in Dublin.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, but was it that gang came, threatened your family, threatened you, threatened your girlfriend?
I fucking hate these type of people in my life. So yeah, I would. I would do anything to stop them.
So that means you have to go into witness protection.
Yeah, fuck it, yeah.
Okay, that's fine, no problem.
Because I swear to God, if anyone came to my house knowing that, like, oh, I can steal this family, they got another thing coming. Because I hate these types of people. I really do.
Well, if they come to your house, it'll probably be a firebomb, but we won't get into that. If I had a plane ticket in front of you to anywhere in the world, COVID is gone, where would you go to? Free, obviously.
Alaska.
Okay.
And there's why? Because when I was about 7 years old, my auntie showed me a movie called Balto, which is a kids like a small, a kids movie, and it was all about this small city in Alaska called Nome, and there was a disease called diphtheria that was going around, and the only way in and out of that city, like the little town, was through sled dogs, not trains or cars back then. This is 1920s, so I've always wanted this, and that was like that's my favorite kids movie. So I want to go to, and I also love the cold weather. I hate hot weather. Do I look like I built for hot weather? So I love cold weather.
Okay. You're very young for this, so if I had you standing in front of your 60-year-old self, what questions would you ask them?
Did I accomplish enough to be happy with myself?
Okay. Anything else?
Am I happy? Am I well, in a sense of like, do I have a roof over my head? Do I have beer in my belly and food in my belly? That kind of stuff. I'd say those questions, like, as long as I have goals in my life, do I achieve those goals? And I'm happy as well? That's the main two things for me.
You said you moved here when you were...
So I'll tell you I was born in Dublin, and I lived here for a year and a half. Then I moved to the States for 2 years, and then I came back. So I lived a year in San Fran and another year in Boston. Your
parents were just working there, was it?
Yeah, we had to move because my dad's job at that time.
Okay. Yeah. Any connections then? Have you been back to the US? Have your family?
The last time I was in the US was in 2008, and we went to New York City between like Christmas and New Year's Eve. It was a funny story because my dad and my mom are there in Dublin Airport getting ready to board, like checking our bags and everything like that. And the person at the desk tells my mom that her passport is out of date, and we're like, fuck. So she grabs a taxi all the way back in town because her passport was written, signatured, instead of like printed, because that's how old it was. So she had to go get a taxi all the way back in town, go to our local Garda station, get it redone, like reprinted and stuff in new version. And then she was able to get the next plane out to New York. So that was a very funny experience to see at that time. I think I was, when was that? That was 2008, so I was 12 years old.
Okay.
Would I go now? Hell fucking no. I would, but I'm scared of the fucking shootings and everything like that, and how stupid Americans are.
I know why you'd be okay.
I look, just give me a ticket to Dogfish Head Brewery or
that's where
breweries in America. I'd be
happy. Do you want children? This is for your girlfriend.
Do I want children?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Do you think you'd be a good father?
I would like to think so.
If the circumstances went against or at you, would you be a home
parent? Home parent?
Would you be a home parent? Say if your girlfriend or whatever.
I would. If the circumstances were in that situation, I would. And now I can say that right now, and the circumstances could come up could come, and I could change my mind. But at the moment, I would.
Yeah, but it's here now. You can go back.
I would.
Do you think it's a hard job? Do you think it's a hard work?
Being a parent?
Yeah.
Fuck yes. Jesus, trying to put up with a little shit like me when trying to fuck no, that's tough.
Cool. How socially are you? What would you be on the left or on the right? I think you're a left person.
Yeah, I on political issues I'd be more left, but I wouldn't be extremist. I'd be, I view the world as like, it's fucking tough, it's fucking hard, get over it. You can get over this shit, you're a human being, but I would be more towards left.
How do you think the government has handled COVID?
As a person who's been unemployed and employed again on and off for the last year, I'll say this: the government are they doing their best? Probably not. Are they stupid? Yes. Was it smart of them to open all the open all the pubs and restaurants for the month of December, knowing that 50,000 people will be traveling back into Ireland for Christmas to see their family? Fucking retarded, because that's how we're in the situation we are right now. That's how we got 8,000 cases in a single day, if even or in the 2 weeks. Are we as bad as some other governments? No, we're not as bad. And I know you can just adjust for population. We're not as bad as the UK, with their death toll, and their cases. We're not as bad as France. And I know they've got massive populations, but if you break it down per million, we're not doing as bad as, and we're in the middle with the amount of vaccines that we're distributing right now, because I see everyone comparing Ireland and England. England's got 60 million fucking people. We've only got what, 5.5, 6, almost up to 6 million, probably 6 million. So it's like you can't judge on that pure thing, and also they make their own vaccine. We get our vaccines from Belgium. So have the government screwed up?
No vaccines have left the United Kingdom. I think 60% have left Europe. So
have the governments been shitty? Yes. Are they doing their best? Probably not. But we're in the situation we are right now.
Do you think if a so-called left government was in, to do any better? If Sinn Féin
and let's say independent?
Yeah.
Obviously, I would like to think so in my head, but I don't know, because Sinn Féin have been in government properly in the last 100 years, so it's hard to judge on that stuff.
Well, they're in government in Northern Ireland.
There's no government in Northern Ireland. They don't even have it. In Westminster bullshit, but
No, but there is a government. It's the World Parliament. They have budgets. They have their own budgets. Like, they can spend money.
But the UK
you spend money. You're in government.
But like the money in the mainland, UK do not give a shit about the North whatsoever. But do I think Sinn Féin would do a better job? I would like to think so, but I would only believe it in my eyes when they're actually in government and have be one of the.
But say if they were, if they got into power last elections, you think they would have made that difference? I'm just trying to think how other people think. I'm not.
I think they would, but again, I would say that no government has prepared for a pandemic like this in the last.
Could you? Do you think you can? Do you think there was?
Yeah, I think yeah, but it's the same question as you build a race car. Do you think it can beat these other race cars? You don't know until it does. So I would put, I'm a betting man. I love poker. I love gambling. I know that sounds really alcohol and gambling. That's bad addiction. I'll put a good amount of money to bet on that Sinn Féin would make a better difference.
Yeah, but you think because the same civil servants would be in place, they'd be given the same advice.
So.
Sorry to anyone to people who are watching that if we're getting boring.
I would say Sinn Féin will make a difference.
Okay, we'll get away from that. Goals for the future.
Goals for the future, man. I've got so many. My goals for the future right now is to get my certified Cicerone at the moment and to become a master Cicerone, so the level 4 of that degree in the beer kind of sommelier. My goal also is to be a master brewer as well, so I'm starting foundation in brewing in June, which is just a small knowledge of actually how to brew beer and stuff like that. Also to be a BJCP judge, so beer judge certificate program, and basically be the most. I want it, if someone typed in beer on Wikipedia, I'd be you have all these important people in life about beer. So you would have let's say, who would you have? Garrett Oliver from Brooklyn Brewery, or Sam Caligoni from Dogfish Head, or Jim Koch from or you have some people from Sam Adams, and many people don't know about the late Michael Jackson, not the pop star, but the beer actually writer and author. I would love to pop up as one of those people and stuff like that. I want to have a collection of beer books that would go display in a museum just for beer. My whole life is dedicated to beer and be the best in beer and judge beer and drink beer and know everything about it.
Do you watch YouTubers then on beer?
I do. I've watched a couple of your videos. It's interesting. I get it. I like the ones when you review some BrewDog beers because I love when I've drank a beer. I love when I drank a beer recently and then I see another YouTuber drinking and see what they think, because that's a great kick to see what they think. The people I always watch would be Brendan View on Brews, as like you had on a couple weeks ago as well.
Yeah.
I would watch Real Ale Craft Beer. I would watch. There's a guy called Darwin's Beer Reviews, and he's a certified.
He's good.
He's very good. He's going for his advanced this round. They're the ones that I would always kind of pop my head in and stuff like that.
There's no one constantly you'd have a.
There's not one person I keep going to because unless I go back to myself because then if you drink, let's say have you had this guy yet?
I probably had, yeah.
We probably have, but let's say there's a beer that you just drank recently and you put a video of it. I'm going to watch that if I've had that beer within the next week or week beforehand. Yeah, okay, drink this, then I'll see what you think and stuff like that. So yeah, they're the type of people I'd watch a lot of the time. But I'd be subscribed to Claw Hammer and Supply. What else do I subscribe? There's a lot of just beer channels and stuff like that. Oh, Craft Beer Channel. I love the guys there on the two guys on Craft Beer Channel. They're two English guys from.
Yeah. Some of their longer in-depth videos are better, I think.
Yeah.
Three things, I think. Some people, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ambitious?
Yes, very much so. I don't like either not working or not studying. I don't know. I hate not what I'm doing, if that makes any sense, because it's so hard fucking be dyslexic in the two negatives positive. I just don't I like working and studying. If I was doing nothing of working or studying, I don't know what to do with myself. So I like having both or either one. So I'm not working at the moment, so I'm studying. So I am ambitious, yeah.
What would be written on your tombstone?
Fuck.
I'd
say something in Irish or to do with fucking whiskey or alcohol, or let's say,
No, come on. What's gonna be written on your headstone?
Okay, I'd say
clear lines.
Clean your lines. Always have always have a beer in your hand. Always great father, great, great granddad or whatever, wonderful son or some shit like that, and then always say at the end I don't want to say he was fond of a drink because that's in a term of he was an alcoholic, but you could always have a drink with him in a sense.
What do you think of the new regulations in Ireland? I knew the multi-buy, and we now have to have doors going into off licenses in supermarkets for some reason.
So, sorry, the new regulations to what? You have to have
the multi-buy. You can't have an.
You can't buy the two. Yeah, so because I know Redmond's they had to get rid of their loyalty cards only last December. Yeah. So I got one in a good amount of time. Okay, so I'm trying to think of the word. I'm trying to make up the sense in my head. Yeah. As you would know as a person, I would say I understand what the government trying to move towards to. I feel like Ireland has such a long, and I wouldn't say rich history, but has a long history of alcohol, especially, since, the first recordings of whiskey was, in Ireland in the 14th century, and then Guinness especially and stuff like that. Because when you ask anyone about Heineken or Carlsberg, there's not one country that comes to their head unless they actually drink beer, or unless you say Coors, that's America. But when you say Guinness, people know it's fucking Irish, right? Yeah. But a lot of off license now just sell their beer for $2.50. So they used to be.
That's the multi-buy now, but
yeah. But I understand they can get 4 beers from the same brewery for €10 on an off license. I get that 100%. And Craft Central hit really hard with that because they had 4 for 10 or 3 for 12 or 4 for 20. I get that, and it's a great marketing scheme to show people. If I get these 2 more, I can get thing at a cheaper price. And it's just making money. The government is just trying to regulate our alcohol intake as people, because even though we're known as a fan of a drink, we're not the biggest consumers in beer in the world, which is kind of astonishing when you say to someone, the Czechs drink at least, I think, 80 liters more per person than us. I understand what the government's trying to do, but like, if you really love beer, you'll spend money on it regardless. And then you got hard seltzers that are like 90 calories and 5%. So I would say, am I for it? For the long term, yeah, because you still want people to have fun, but you're concerned about their health in a sense.
Yeah, one second. Back in 1 second, sorry. You talk to people. If you're kind of watching.
Oh God, if anyone's watching right now, just see if anyone's asking me a question. If not, that's okay. Just moving on. Oh Lord, what is going on? God, this is a long talk, 1 hour and 25. It's good though. It's good. Hard questions, really fucking hard questions. Am I that type of person? I would just talk to myself, probably. Yeah, shit. Anyways. If anyone wants to know what I was drinking White Gypsy's Vienna Lager. Great beer. 5.2%. You can get it in Black Rock Cellar. Obviously in Black Rock on their main street. It's on the left hand side if you're coming from the town into Black Rock. Amazing craft beer selection and stuff like that. Plus, I would recommend Craft Central, Craft Direct, Beer Cloud, Beer Club, Yards and Crafts as well. All those guys are brilliant, having amazing selections. Do check them out. Do check out Thomas's Window Beer Review, Thomas's YouTube channel and his page on Instagram. Also, for Celtic Beers as well, check out me at CelticBeers on Instagram. If you've got any questions about beers or brewing or history about beers, give me a DM or a comment on one of my beer styles or whatever, or a beer review. And yeah, so we'll see how long he's gone for it.
Oh. Sorry.
No worries. I literally was just talking about the beer I was drinking, telling people where to buy it, and giving a shout.
Hi, Rasco and Disco. Whichever one's watching. Oh, it's Disco. Steve is never brewing channel, and Rasco is never channel.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, I think I have questions for you.
Do you? How many questions did you ask me?
There was probably about 30 or 40.
Jesus, felt like a lot longer. Felt a lot more, in fairness.
Yeah, but I asked questions because you answered questions. And
I probably talked, and you're like, shit, he already answered that question. Fuck.
Yeah, but that's what most people do, that, and you have to try to adapt. And I'm trying to put some formula to this that people watch it, and there's like, I asked about your channel, I asked about area life, and boring things. Yeah, any questions for me?
I would say, how did you get into beer? Or how, or more say, probably the better question would be like, how did you get into craft beer?
Because O'Hara's are my local brewery, and they were in the super value, and I started picking them up.
Yeah.
So they had their wheat beer out that time, which was pretty awful, but I thought it was different.
Okay.
And then I started drinking their stouts. I never drank stouts before that.
Okay.
A few Guinnesses, and that's how I started. Then I searched craft beer into YouTube and Irish beers, and
when
the rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly, man.
That was about 10 years ago.
10 years ago, okay. And what would be your favorite style, or if there's 3 different styles they have, again, like me, or do you have just one favorite?
I would go for stouts. I'm kind of going away from IPAs and pale ales. They're just so, at the moment,
they're so similar, and there's yeah, no, I get that 100%. I won't lie, like Whiplash do amazing double IPAs. So, and every time I go into one, it's like, I don't review because I know they're going to be bomb ass all the time, and they know, like 9 out of 10 times if I buy a double IPA from Whiplash, it's fucking fantastic, and their consistency of a double IPA or an IPA in general is amazing. If someone else asking me, where are you from in Ireland? I don't know if he's mean or you, but I'm from Dublin.
I'm from Carlo. So
Carlo. But yeah, and what else? Oh, do you have any certain goals or ambitions in the beer industry that you'd like to get into, or is there any? Would you like to ever?
not really. Just I'd like to talk to people here.
Mm-hmm.
If I could maybe get some of the breweries on some stage, but I don't think I'm confident enough at the moment.
It's just time will tell. Yeah, you don't know till you can always shoot them in text and say no, because like Brian from Craft Beer Community he's been doing this for over for a year and stuff like that, and it's been great. But man, just keep working on it and you'll get there one day.
Yeah, that's yeah. I'm trying to think of something else. I had something in my head and it just went completely out of it. I hate that.
I know it's so annoying when you're about to say something and then I say one fucking word and you're like, fuck, what was that? Fuck. I will say
how do you think the Irish breweries can grow? Do you think some of them will become small regional breweries? Someone like
do I think any Irish breweries will expand their business?
No, but do you think some will just kind of go, they'll have a regional pull, they'll have like 20, 30 pubs within their grasps, and they will distribute bottles to, say, Craft Central or the different off licenses, and they will survive. And
I would say that, look, if you're a craft brewery, right, and I understand that a lot of people, when they think of beer, they think of this, like in their head, it's got to be taste like this style, it's got to have this packaging and all that kind of stuff. I would say if you don't adapt your marketing or your beer styles or your design on your bottles or cans, you'll be stuck in that wee bubble of no one just being in that small city or small town. Where if you do something weird and wonderful or something quirky or just different, you will expand because people like that type of stuff. That's why I won't lie, I'm not a fan of Dublin City Brewing. I know they're just there to make money and their beers are just like, they're not like, I won't consider them, their marketing as well, like the way the cans are, like artwork on them is just like a plain green or yellow or red background and then just some writing of Dublin City Brewing and the names on them and like the ingredients is all the same thing. And the funny thing is the brewmaster is Murgo Furry, is it Fergal Murray, or I can't remember, but he used to be the brewmaster of Guinness. So if he's coming from that background and not coming back around from, let's say, Yellow Belly or White Hag or Whiplash or Wiggler Wolf, craft breweries are meant to do weird, wonderful shits and think about what people would like and stuff like that. And I know that if someone says to me about Brewdog, but Brewdog is adapting all the time. We're making weird, wonderful beers, and then we're listening to the people that say that wanted a less ABV beer because they prefer that. And as well as if you have a less ABV beer, you feel less judgmental on yourself because you can drink more then later on. Because if this was fucking 10%, I'd be like, man, I need to cut I need to put a limit on myself. But
if that was 10%, that's your special beer for the night. You sit down, you sip it, and you enjoy it because at 10% it should be enjoyable.
I know, but a lot of people who don't drink craft beer or who only get craft beer just see the percentage and just down it, or they think it's like a buzz or something like that, or used as a pre-drink. Because everyone thinks about like alcohol differently and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I hate.
Do you think the way you've talked tonight? Do you think there is a family or a togetherness in Brewdog then? Because you said us so many times.
Oh yeah. So the people I work with are probably this. So I can't comment on the other people that are in Brewdog, but I only can comment on the people that I work with. The people that I work with are absolutely fucking it's probably the best work environment I've ever worked in, because we're always, if I'm stuck on a couple of tables and someone it's got their next section right beside mine and they're not too busy, I can ask and they would say yes. And hey, can you change the cake? Celtic Beers just followed you, mate. Thank you very much, man. Follow you back. if I'm behind the bar and I'm stuck with like 10 beers I have to do, and I know, and I could, and someone's pulling the tap and nothing comes out, and they're, let's say they're busy, I can ask another person to, hey, can you change cake number 18 in that sense.
Okay.
It's definitely been the best work environment, and as well as, this is the thing is, after time you do a shift in Brewdog, you can stay and have a beer, and it's on the house in a sense. That's, you've done your 8-hour shift, you put in the time and effort, and you get a free pint in the end and stuff like that, and just show off your hard work.
Would you have any contact with HQ then in Scotland if there was constant complaints about a certain beer that you thought was justified?
So yeah, no, because sometimes we love about, so the thing about Brewdog, us and Brewdog, is we care about beer quality. So like the biggest thing I remember was one of our general managers, when we were open, he had to go over back to England, so we got another one from England to help us out with, just because we're so crazy sometimes. It's such a big place. And the first thing he does is he pours out a little sample of the beer, puts a thermometer in it to make sure it's the right temperature. Because if it's not the right temperature, there's no point in serving it. And if it's too warm, it'll just foam up. So what's the point? And then if we get a new beer in, we'll all taste test it before our shift to make sure that if a customer asks us, hey, what does that taste like? You can recommend them. And as well as, what we do is, if someone's not sure about buying a full pint of beer, right, we'll say, do you want just a taster of that? And they're like, is that okay? It's like, we push for that. We like, if you came to Brewdog and you saw a weird one for beer, and you're like, I don't want to know if I want to spend, let's say, €6 on a pint for that type of beer. Like, don't worry, I'll give you a taster and you can judge it for yourself then, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, you've saved yourself £6. If you haven't, you spent £6 on a good, great beer that you enjoyed. So we're about pushing beer and stuff like that. And I love doing this, is when we get people in who are not beer drinkers, but love it because of how aesthetic pleasing it is. Definitely for the Instagram people, And I've done this so many times. What are you drinking gin? And they're like, yeah. Do you want a taster of a beer that I think you might like? And they're like, is it free? It's always free as a taster. We just have to put in the system, and they're like, and then I judge it, and I say, okay, I think you might like this. So if they like gin, they might something like really dry. So let's say it stays on. If they like something kind of very sweet and powerful, an imperial stout, but take within consideration that's a 10% beer, and it comes in certain sizes, because otherwise it's unfair for the customer drinking a pint of 10% thing. You get fucked in a sense.
You never drink 330 ml for 10%.
Yeah, 330. Or like, I'll tell you this: the funniest time is when we get a lot of people. We're quite near Ringsend, which is, old man kind of pub style drinking habits. So if I give them a beer and it's 6% or 7%, or even 8%, and it doesn't come in a pint, it comes in 2/3, they look at me like I just kind of insulted them or something like that. I was like, wait, let me explain. We give it in this size because it's a stronger alcohol content, because otherwise it's unfair for you to drink something in a pint, because it shouldn't be like that. And Brewdog have pushed against the UK government, saying that we want beer, and again, like, it's traditionally styles wise, is you have stronger beers in smaller glasses. Otherwise we'll be damaging your liver all the fucking time then. But we care about you to enjoy yourself and then have a great time with food and beer and friends. I think I save myself there after the question of, do you consider Brewdog craft beer and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. And I love like, my girlfriend, when she said she drank craft beer, I was so excited because I could share something with her. And for her not to be never known what a saison is or trying different beer styles, it's funny because sometimes she hates that. She hates like lambics and gueuzes. She hates the funkiness of it. Yeah. But once I gave her like a really juicy IPA or pale ale, she was all over it, So I love seeing people's reactions to see what beers are like and stuff like that.
What do you think of the mixture of gender to the craft is in drinkers? If you can judge whatever person's gender is.
Personal experience, I'd say the majority of drinkers for beer or craft beer in general is men. And the fucked up thing is that the first brewers in the world were women.
Yeah.
Because they brewed at home and they stayed at home with the kids. And then as society has changed over the thousands of years, men have taken over and stuff like that. And I hate the idea of male dominance in the brewing industry, even though it's true. But I think as time progresses, and I can see this for easily, that beer styles will change and some will be gone and some will come in, Like 3 new beer styles came in of 2021. of Session Belgium IPA, Kentucky Common, and something else that was Belgium. I think the how many, like, let's say 7% men. I'm not saying that that's the number.
Yeah.
But I can see that going down, and I love to see that going down, because if I had a couple of mates, like I have two friends of mine, my two of my best friends are girls. One loves Heineken and will just drink that. So I introduce her to, sours, because it's more fruitier and stuff like that. Because I know she might not like an Imperial Stout because it will kick your ass in a sense. And so it can be so strong in the flavor, right? And then I've got another friend who is well into try craft beer. And one thing she was so shocked was I gave her an extra bottle of Wild Beer Co. their salted caramel stout. And she was like, it literally tasted like a Salt Mount Square. I was like, that's the idea. It's like, so beer's not just Heineken, Guinness, and Bud and Coors. It's so many different flavors, and there's a beer style for everyone. I don't care what you say. I can find a beer style for you. And if you don't like it, then it's just you're going in with that mindset saying, I don't like beer. Because if you're open, you're open then.
Yeah. Do you know any female old breweries or run in Ireland?
Do I know? So, do I know any breweries that are running?
Well, we'll say are mainly would have a female head. We'll say. I know one, and I know of two, but one isn't going anymore. But I know.
Okay,
two.
you got okay. To be honest with you, the only breweries that I actually know by people, like I would think most of the breweries in Ireland are run and owned by males. I don't personally know any breweries that are either run or owned by female. I just know that Whiplash was holding International Women's Brew Day and stuff like that a couple of weeks ago and stuff like that. Fun enough, I won the prize, even though I forgot that there was the live stream, or you can zoom into go into the Zoom chat and stuff like that and see them. But I won't lie. I think if women who are really passionate about beer should start their own breweries, because I feel like they will bring a huge amount of difference to what beers could be and can be in the world.
Okay. The two breweries I know that are kind of female led.
Yeah.
Would be Metal Man and N17.
Metal Man is run. I didn't know that.
Well, I think it's a couple, but I think she is the main. I thought she was the main brewer or the main behind it.
Okay.
I can't see her name now. If people are watching or in comments or.
Yeah. I know that Lyman is run by a couple as well, and I know that I think the man does the brewing but the wife helps as well. But I think she does more of the marketing and the design of things and
I think White Street are the same. I think he's mainly the brewer, but she's into the beer too, and she helps out.
But I would love to see in the future if a couple of women who are mates together to start their own brewery, because I think what they could bring to the table would be so fucking different from what we're used to, and just weird flavors in general.
Do you think there'd be any negative comments because it'd be just a female?
I think I'm not going to say that there won't be, because it's not a perfect world. I'd say there would be negative comments, but I'd say to the people who are doing those negative comments, just get out of their arsehole and just be a human being, and then if they buy the beer and they like the beer, then they're just a dickhead in that sense. And just say that this brewery kicks ass and stuff like that. I'd definitely say, like, I'd love to see that.
But do you think if the negative comments were justified, and then some certain people would say, we're saying these comments are only because they're female?
Women. And then that's just discrimination. That's like you're just hating them on women, and you just think that beer should be made by men. Beer should be made.
What I'm saying is, say if you had a beer in front of you and you saw the negative comments, it was actually they're right. There is problems with this beer, and then there's other people saying, well, they're only saying them comments because it's females.
Well, so here's the thing. So if a brewery was set up by women and they produced a beer, and I drank their beer and I felt like it was off, I would tell them back, hey guys, I found this, let's say, off flavors or not conditioned enough or whatever to them. But if I see someone commenting saying, hey, of whatever reason, would I agree with it? I would agree to extent if it's just down to the storage or the kept quality of the beer, but never down to the women itself.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. Where do you think Ireland is socially at the moment?
Socially?
Yeah.
Like of how?
Well, I would say there is a change in we have more emigration of different backgrounds.
So I find I kind of understand the question now. I find it ironic that people, and there's people in any country, would complain about immigration, right? I find it ironic, and the reason why I find it ironic is because how many fucking Irish people have emigrated to America, Canada, and Australia? Is like, get out of your hole. Immigration is good. It brings about diversity and brings different ideas, especially if you're like, the biggest thing is like when in offices and stuff like that, if you have to come up with a new marketing idea and stuff like that, as well as like what's the point of not interacting with other people? Because then you get to learn about cultures and stuff. Because you're not willing to learn about other cultures, you're just going to be ignorant and naive and just being a dickhead in general.
Yeah, but the reason I asked that question is I think there is a first generation of Irish, we say their parents may not be originally from Ireland, they're growing up, and I think the government or local authorities are not putting enough into community sports and
100% agree.
I think that's what I think, especially around Dublin, around the different.
I have a lot of mates who are either from, let's say, Nigeria or Zimbabwe and stuff like that. And once you get to know a good amount of that community, in a sense, not saying labeling Africa as a one nation, but as a continent, but getting to know different people from those different nationalities, especially, I got to know a lot through college in that sense. And I completely agree that the government has done fuck all to do anything to make the communities feel more welcomed in this country, 100%. Because all the government cares is money, and I do understand that money runs the world in that sense, but why the fuck do we need another 15 hotels?
Yeah, well, I think if you spend the money now, you're going to stop the problems in 10 years' time.
Mm-hmm.
So the person who goes down and breaks a window, if you can stop him breaking the window, he's not going to rob the car, he's not going to start selling.
Yeah, 100%. Like, if you just treat everyone equally, and I know in the world...
Well, not equally, you just put the support in there, especially the growing urban areas. I think around Dublin, around Florida. I don't want to single out areas, but massive increase in people. Parents mightn't speak English the best, and you just want to support people. I think give them a helping chance, and then they'll grow and they'll create jobs, they'll do other things.
Because I'm not saying in fairness to Ireland, but to be honest with you, if you're coming from a different continent, or let's say, anywhere in the world, why the fuck would you come to a country that has a shit ton of amount of rain and for people to drink all the time, And like the big immigrations that came into Ireland were probably the 1990s, and then moving on. Where in England it's completely different, in America it's completely different as well, because they started at least 100 years before us and stuff like that. And also trying to get to Ireland is an arse way if you're coming all the way from Greece or Turkey or Spain, because it's so fucking in the wee corner of fucking nowhere in a way, Do
you think Ireland is racist?
I think any country can be racist. Do I think Ireland...
In general, would say out of the majority of people would you think there is a certain degree, let's say, of slight racism?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's not even to go like, oh, Ireland's against black people or anything like that. It's like Ireland against England people, English people. There's a racist to anyone for not being Irish or Catholic in that way, or who doesn't drink. Like the amount of times that you say you're Irish and you don't drink, people are in shock. I'm like, all right, calm down, And I'm not saying that race is the same thing, but just open your mind and talk to people from different backgrounds, and you'll just get things and you'll understand things and stuff like that. You just have to be more open-minded. But yeah, I do think to a certain level, Ireland is racist.
Dream place to live.
Dream place to live?
Yeah. Other than Ireland.
Can I pick two?
Yeah, go on.
Iceland and I'd have to say Italy.
One Iceland or Italy then?
Where in Italy?
Have you been to Iceland or Italy?
I've never been to Iceland. It's my dream to go to Iceland. I just love cold weather in general, and I love to go there and just drive around, even though I don't have a fucking license. But they do have craft beer pubs and stuff and breweries.
Yeah.
Italy, I've been to it like at least 11 times, and we used to go to the same place in 2 hours south of Rome, a place called Santa Cristina, where it was like a family that lived in a castle, but they had turned all their stables into like little mini apartments that you could spend there for a whole week and could do horse riding and and you can swim. But I'd say probably the north of Italy a wee bit, because I'm not a big fan of hot weather in that sense. But I do enjoy weather. North of Italy or like South France, and then Iceland. Somewhere hot, somewhere cold.
Is there any teacher that inspired you?
There's no teacher that came straight to my head to say, look, like I said, like I didn't say they mean things to me, but like
If no teacher inspired you, is there any person who inspires you?
Probably, I would have to. Oh, any person that inspires me?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I would go back to the teacher thing, but my favorite teacher or lecturer, you could say, was a guy called, what was his name? David. I think his name was David Duff. It's been a couple of years. He taught me. What the fuck did he taught me? He taught me something business development or something like that in college, and me and him had a really great like friendship and stuff like that, and we got on with each other really well. And he was really interested in all those things that I was talking about, beer and stuff like that. And even in college, I wrote a craft beer dissertation. I wanted to know why people are buying craft beer versus domestic beer and stuff like that. But is there people that inspire me? My parents are very well driven. My dad owns a couple of companies. He went to business school in London, and my mom's a teacher, but she's doing her like 4th or 5th degree. She's still studying as well. So yeah, them two, I'd say.
Okay. I've kept you for an hour and 50, whatever, 2 minutes talking.
I've been loving it, man.
Yeah, nice way to keep a Saturday going. I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry more people didn't drive. But there's good lives on tonight, so a lot of people from maybe United Kingdom who I expect to join didn't join. Thanks to everyone who has joined.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you're watching this in replay, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Thomas.
Bye to everyone. And let's hit the